Aerosol. Good morning, everyone. Okay, if you are a lady of the leaf or a cigar aficionado or even a connoisseur, I want you to stay tuned because we've got something in store for you with our special guest. And you guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Here we go.
Aerosol. Hello, friends, and welcome to Shero Coffee Chat. We hope you've had a great week, and thank you for joining us today. We've got a full cup ahead, so grab your Shero coffee, because we're taking a spin around the Shero resource table. Plus, we've got your chat, tip, and guest of the week. Let's give a big shout out to our host, Melissa Farmer-Hill, Army Combat Veteran, host of Shero Coffee Chat, and founder of the Shero Coffee Club, where we keep the world caffeinated and women veterans celebrated. And now, reporting for duty and ready to lead the conversation, Melissa Farmer-Hill.
Aerosol! Good morning, friends. Happy Sunday morning. I am Melissa Farmer-Hill, a retired Army combat veteran. I am the author of Army Strong Women and the founder of the Shero Coffee Club, where I amplify the voices of women veterans. And because don't forget, we got the tea. You can see the tea behind me. And the voices of women who show up as champions in everyday life. Yes, and that's through our tea, that's through our coffee. And don't forget about the conversations that we lead right here on Shero Coffee Chat. And I want to thank you. I really do. I want to thank you for joining me today. I'm so glad we have so many choices in life, right? And everyone they're vying for your attention. They want your attention. I want your attention. But I'm so glad that you have decided to take this time out and find out what's going on Shero Coffee Chat. And like I said, if you are a lady of the leaf or if you are a cigar aficionado, we're going to have a great conversation today, right? Because lately, I don't know if you guys have seen this, and maybe because I'm new to this culture, you know, the cigar culture has seen a major surge in popularity right here in Richmond Park. We've stood about 2 or 3 cigar spots in our community alone. But yeah, it's seen a major surge in popularity, and our next guest is here to talk about it, right? She's going to talk about her experience in this industry. Enid Blandon is the founder and CEO of Ancestry Cigars. Even the name sounds majestic, right? Ancestry Cigars is a premium cigar brand built at the intersection of legacy, luxury, and bold entrepreneurship, because that is exactly what it takes. You guys know those out there who are out there doing it with your own brands and your own companies. As a woman carving out space, right, in a male-dominated industry, Enid is not just building a business. She's disrupting expectations, right? And she is redefining who belongs at the table. She's fueled by resilience, a vision. She had to have a vision, right? And relentlessness and self-belief, because you got to believe in yourself. You got to have that confidence. She transformed a challenge into an opportunity, you guys. And today she is here with her brand that she's passionate about. I think, you know, to me, Enid represents what it looks like to lead with confidence, what it looks like to build with intention, and to create legacy on your own terms. I am so ecstatic, y'all, to introduce to you guys and gals, Mrs. Enid Blandon.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. I can't, you know, people always say I overdo it, but I don't think you can give people enough flowers for when they pour into your life. They pour into the things that you do. So I want to say thank you again for coming on the show.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
We are so happy to have you on Shero Coffee Chat. And I really want, the first thing I want to get into is when I think of Ancestry Cigars, it to me, just listening to, just hearing the name, it sounds majestic. It sounds spiritual. That just the name itself is powerful. So when you talk about Ancestry Cigars, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean to you personally?
Personally, the reason why I named the business Ancestry Cigars is when I started working on this project, it was to honor my grandmother and my father that passed. So my grandmother died in 2018, then October 2018, and a couple of months later, February of 2019, my father passed. So it was originally to honor them. Then in July of 2021, my mother passed, and then it's to honor her as well. So Ancestry Cigars is basically the foundation, is to honor my ancestors that passed.
Wow. That's such a blessing. You know, it to build, I think something when people are building a brand and they're passionate about a brand, it's something that triggers that's significant in their life. You know, like for me, it was just going through that transition, having to have, you know, going through my mental health journey, and then meeting the women and hearing their stories. So that triggered me to, man, the world needs to know about this. And so I love the fact that the brand was built off of something that, you know, triggered you. It was the history of your family. It's to represent your family well. And I think that is amazing. And like I said before, you know, cigars are having a real moment right now.
Yeah, they are.
The cigars were not even on my radar. Then I started seeing ladies light up. I was like, oh, okay.
Mhm.
All right. So
Yeah.
why do you think this happened? So and I won't say quickly, like it just happened this year or last year. It's been, I
Mhm.
guess, over the last decade or so, maybe. I'm
Yeah.
not sure. But why do you think it became such a popular thing?
It's become popular because African Americans have finally been able to get into the industry. Once we get a hold of something, we take the popularity and we like stretch it,
Yeah.
and we really expand it and try to maximize it in whatever way, no matter what business you're in. I believe that that's the reason why it's expanding so fast because my husband, he's been smoking for like 30 some years. He started smoking when he was in his 20s and he's in his
Yeah.
60s now. So he always says how, like, it wasn't a lot of brands. It was the same old brands and everything like that, which we call them in the cigar industry the legacy brands. Like
Mm-hmm.
you have Oliva, the AJ Fernandez's, you have Drew Estates and Ashton's and different brands like that. So then you had a big boom that everyone was tired of smoking the legacy brands, and that's how brands like myself came into the business, which I'm considered as being a boutique brand because of the production I do every year, and also I'm small.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sitting up doing a million in sales a year. I'm not even nowhere close to that, but it's coming.
Right.
But once African Americans got into the industry, that's when it really started this boom going really, really fast.
Oh wow. I love being black.
Yeah, me too.
But now let's talk about African Americans, because that takes me to the great state of Illinois. And I hear that you are recognized, wait a minute, as the first African American woman to hold a tobacco license. Make sure I'm saying that right. I think it's a
Mhm,
tobacco license in the great state of Illinois. That is
mhm.
huge, especially when you think about how long the tobacco industry has been
Yeah.
around and how long people been smoking in the great state of Illinois.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
what did that moment mean to you?
So when they told me, like I took communicate with them a lot via email and then via on the phone. So when the lady told me on the phone, I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" He was like, "Do you know how big this is?" I said, "No, but okay, if you say so." And she started cracking up. And even like she deals with my account even to this day. And she'll say something, "I saw this, I saw that, I saw the other." And she was like, "And it just seems like it doesn't phase you." And I'm like, "It phases me, but I don't let it consume me." If you
Right.
understand what I'm saying. Like it's something I've done or something that I'm doing. And it's like, okay, well, I open up the door for the next people to come behind me, you know.
Yeah, I love, of course, because my brand is all about women. So you're gonna have to
Mhm.
get wait, I gotta show everybody this because this is my favorite picture of the week, and then we're gonna get back into the interview. But I got to add this picture. Yes, you guys. Yes, she is also a consumer of the product. And are you drinking Shero Dark
Yep.
Roast? That's your favorite. Shero Dark
Hmm.
Roast is her favorite. She's drinking it
Hmm.
right now, and we absolutely love it. She sent this picture. She posted this picture on her social media. It features Beverly Fitch, who she's been on the show a number of times. As you guys know, she was just here last month talking about women in leadership. But yes, I love seeing this. I love seeing this. This is my picture of the week. So I just wanted to show the audience, look, it is real. It is real. All right. Okay, I took the wrong thing out. Hold on. Let me see. Here it is. There we go. All right, back to the interview. Let's talk about because now we talked about that moment when you being the first African American female in the state of Illinois. But we did also to hold a tobacco license. Let me finish that sentence. I have a, when that ADHD.
Trust me, I have it too.
But I also know that it is a male dominated industry, right?
Yep,
So what,
very much so.
yeah, what made you say I belong here too? I need to make my own table or have a seat at this table.
Well, for one, I think it had a lot to do with my military background.
Uh-huh.
Why I didn't accept no because I know the stock that I came from. I know how the foundation, and I knew that being in the if I could be in the military, women can do anything. Like
Yeah,
if you can handle the stuff, from the military, then you can do whatever you want to do.
right.
And with that being said, it was a thing where men said a whole lot of stuff to me, and they still to this day. And it was a thing where I just wasn't going to take no for an answer, and I felt a need that this is something that women need to have a seat at the table for.
Mm-hmm.
And, you have to, it was a thing where is it me? This gonna be the person that's gonna help the other women to bring more women to the table? Or am I just going to just keep on existing and not kick this door down? And I decided to kick the door down.
Let me take a breath for that because just having that vision of what you just said opens the door for so many women in the future wanting to get into this industry. And I'm not talking about the girls in their 20s, I'm talking about the ones that are 8 years old.
Yeah.
I'm talking about those girls, and for you to leave your mark and a legacy like that, even though now I did learn something, legacy brands and boutique brands, the difference between the two.
Mhm.
Even though you are a boutique brand, you are definitely building a legacy. Definitely
Yes.
building a legacy. Now let's talk about, the real about entrepreneurs because people see everything beautiful on IG. We posting all of our positive things, but I'm telling you, I sat here for 45 days, did not get one single order.
It
I
happens.
couldn't even generate it.
It happens. It
And
happens
so
in
let's
any
talk
business.
about, the part that, a lot of people, they might not understand about what you live when we are trying to build a brand or a legacy.
Yeah. So basically, it's not always going to be roses every day. It's not. It might not be roses for months. It might not be roses for weeks. So you have to be prepared for that, especially in my industry. I know the slow months. I know that when December hits, especially with the lounges, December to March, the orders slow down. Because for one, people aren't buying as much because you have such big holidays. And then for two, the lounges, including myself, preparing our taxes. So I know the highs and the lows. And then especially here in Chicago, like the outdoor once the outdoor season happens, that's when sales pick up as it does in other states as well. So I understand all of that and I track that,
Mm-hmm.
track it, the distribution tracks it. So we know the times where it's gonna be real busy. Like now it's my busy season. Now is my season where okay, I have to travel more, make appearances more because it's warming up and people want to see me more now, no matter if it's in the state of Illinois or where it is.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be prepared for all of those ups and downs in business, no matter what business you have. You also have to make sure, especially now, you don't have to do as much paper marketing. You don't have to do as many
Yeah.
email blasts. You have social media. So you have to make sure that, you're posting, you're engaging. I try to take, especially on I do it more on IG, hopping on like different, people in the cigar industry. Like I
Mm-hmm.
was doing one this morning,
Mm-hmm.
actually with a colleague of mine. And you have to like put yourself out there, take advantages of all of these platforms that we have now that we didn't have back in the day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I know you had mentioned we talked about like the state of Illinois and
Mhm.
you are moving your headquarters. Can you tell us where you're moving to and why you're moving your headquarters? Well, okay, yeah, let's start with that.
Well, it's moving to Florida, and the reason why I'm doing it is because of the tobacco laws in the state of Illinois. Tobacco tax keeps going up. I
Mm,
had to make an executive decision that do I leave my headquarters here or do I move it to a state that their tobacco tax is almost zero? And it was a no-brainer.
yeah,
It'll be easier for the lounges,
yeah,
especially the out-of-state lounges that order from the company,
yeah,
because this way they don't have to worry about having such a big tobacco tax because a lot of lounges they will not deal with certain companies if you're based in a state where the tobacco tax is high because people have to understand they have to still pay that state tobacco tax where you
yeah.
are and they have to pay their own.
Mm,
So that can get pretty pricey, especially if our state of Illinois is at 45% and then the other state is at 45%. That's 90% tax that you're paying on the tobacco products. So that could be expensive,
mm-hmm,
gets it up like my price of one of my cigars right now is 13.50.
mm-hmm.
That means that they will have to with the tax that they have to pay onto the cigar, and they'll probably end up selling my cigar at their lounge, depending upon the tobacco tax in that state. My cigar can go from 13.50 up to maybe 17, 18, even $19.
Oh wow. Okay.
And then the next cigar I'm coming out with, the MSRP is $15 for that. So that means that
Yeah,
once they add it on, that stick will be over $20.
yeah.
So you have to make an executive decision and say, okay, I might live here, but is it really profitable for my company to be based out of here? Which a lot of people do know that
Yeah.
in the state of Illinois, you have like the guy from the Citadel. He literally relocated his whole headquarters to Florida.
He did.
So, you have to uh, be prepared to step out on faith and make those changes.
You
And there's nothing
definitely
wrong with it.
Yeah, you definitely have to do what's best for your business, and it sounds like you made definitely a very wise decision. But you noticed something about Florida. A lot of billionaires that's becoming like that Miami area, Fort Lauderdale area is becoming like billionaire headquarters because a lot of people
Mhm,
are leaving New York and California. So
mhm,
yeah, so Florida I could see Florida being, because they're even trying in the state of Florida, they're even trying to eliminate, I think it's property tax for all for all citizens, so all their residents. So I think that's a great thing, and I think it's do you don't think you'll ever move to Florida, just the headquarters?
No, if I will move the headquarters to Florida, and I probably at some point in time will get like an apartment or a condo down there, so I can have me and the family can have some place to stay
Yeah.
and go back and forth down there. But as physically staying down there, no.
Yeah, so Andre, my husband and I, we spend a lot of time most winters in Florida. This year we were there from January until March. Yeah, so we just got back a few weeks. We just got back a few weeks ago. We like Florida, but we don't want to leave Chicago, so we're like snowbirding between the two. So yeah, but yeah, Florida as a great place for tobacco cigar industry owners or people in that industry to set your business up as far as a headquarters. So that's excellent.
Yeah. And
Now,
people don't understand Florida's real big in the tobacco industry. You got a lot of big brands that they are headquartered down there. You
yeah,
have a lot of rollers down there, and when the stuff comes from the factories, like if it comes from the DR, Nicaragua, Honduras, any of those
yeah.
places, Miami is the head. It's like the hub. It goes through
Oh, okay.
customs. Then it comes to you or wherever your if you have a distribution company, it goes to that. So they do a lot of importing of tobacco in Miami.
Okay,
Lots.
that's
Like
good.
they got people in customs that's what they do. That's all they do is open up boxes, test the cigars and
Hmm.
everything like that, and then clear them so that you can come pick them up or somebody, or they can be transferred over to whatever your shipping method is, FedEx, UPS, the post office, and then come to you if you house it where you are, or it goes straight to distribution.
So that's my next question. I want to talk about like your branding, Ancestry Cigars. Like the name, like I said, it feels majestic, it feels spiritual. We know why now, but let's talk about how the naming of your cigars and how do you go about naming the cigars that you have?
So right now we are honoring Egyptian women, either they were queens or pharaohs, or they were both. So basically, how I decide on the names is I basically do a research, do a search.
Hmm.
Because like right now, we have Hatshepsut, which Hatshepsut, she was a pharaoh. And Egyptian pharaoh, she led major military operations. And a lot of people don't know she would dress up like a man so people would not know that she was a woman until
Oh
she
wow.
revealed herself.
Like
And
Kathy
she was,
Williams, like Private Kathy Williams did
yep, yep,
in here in America.
yep,
Oh wow.
yep,
I didn't mean to cut you off, but it just came to
yeah,
mind.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
exactly.
Wow.
So she was like so powerful. She won a lot of wars. And then it came to a thing where her stepson got jealous of her. And when she passed, he basically wiped her name out. So if you go to the new Egyptian museum right
Mm-hmm.
now, it's very little about her in the museum because, basically he wiped his stepmother out. Because back then women should have been seen and not heard. And
Yeah.
she was both.
Mm-hmm.
So he wiped her out. And so then now we're on to Nandi, which anybody that knows about Nandi, that was Shaka Zulu's mother.
Mm-hmm.
And she was real instrumental in Shaka Zulu in being a successful warrior. And then he also went on to be, king of his tribe, so on and so forth. So we're my goal is to have the 5-pack completed by hopefully June 1st so we can start working on men's 5-pack cigars, name them after pharaohs.
Mm-hmm.
That's my goal.
So why is the naming just so intentional and important to you?
It's intentional and important to me because my cigars, I want everybody when they smoke them for it to take you on a journey.
Mm.
Lately, I've been having people, especially with Hatsapu, like one of my customers said it reminded him of when his grandmother used to be in the kitchen baking. And I wanted to like some kind of way to either tie to your grandmother or grandfather or sibling or anything when you're on a smoking experience with our cigars. And that's how it's important with the naming.
Hmm.
And even sometimes like I have names Hatsapu, everybody couldn't pronounce that. And I was like, just go and type it in, do the pronunciation, and it'll tell you how it's pronounced.
You know, it's so funny when you said the name, I saw the words. And what I saw about the words, I remember HP, and I was like, I don't know how to say that. And then
Yeah.
so now, guess what? Look, I'm just learning. I'm learning
Hmm.
all day long. Hatsapu is how you pronounce her name. Because
Hmm.
I'm familiar with the name and I'm familiar with the crazy way. To me, it's the crazy way it's
Hmm.
spelled because,
Spell.
right, because we don't pronounce words like that. And
Yeah.
so now I know how to say it. Hatsapu.
Yeah. Or sometimes you'll hear me call her Hat. If I don't want to say the whole name, I'll be like Hat. And then people be like, Hat, I'll be like, yeah, I'm just calling her Hats instead of saying Hatsapu. And they be like, wow.
Now, let's talk about that moment when you personally maybe had your first taste of the cigar and said, this is something else. Like, take us through that experience where you tried it and then you said, yeah, I'm going to be a part of this.
I want to say it had to be around the time that my husband introduced me to smoking because it's so relaxing. Like
Yeah.
in the conversations that you have over a cigar, like when I'm in the lounge and everything, like we talk about our family, we talk about business, we talk about how to make portfolios, retirement stronger. We talk about
Yeah.
everyday life things. And it was like a epiphany, like, yeah, it's time to go ahead and move forward with the business. And it's it's even to this day, it's like, wow, like, this is what I did. Especially when I go out and people see me and they recognize me because it's a thing where they like, is that really her? Is that not her? And then I just smile. I'll be like, it's me. It's really me. And they're like, oh, it's really you. Da 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 da. Can I get a picture or can I talk to you? Can I pick your brain? And I'll take that time out to actually talk to them and have a conversation with them. And I tell people if I can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that anybody can do what I do, and they probably will do it better than what I do. But as long as they have the blueprint, I'm happy with that.
You know what? I think that's so beautiful because a lot of people, they just build their business and they keep it moving. And
Mhm.
sometimes, a lot of times, especially now, maybe because I don't know, there's so much going on, they don't do that reach back, they don't do that mentorship. And I'm glad that when people recognize you and they want to stop and they might be potential people that
Mhm.
want to move into that industry, that you are there to just answer any questions that they might have. And I know you're going to keep that spirit, but that, as you grow, I think it's real important that we just keep an open mind, keep an open heart to talk to people about our successes, what works, what doesn't work, based on our experience, because
Mhm.
everyone's experience is not the same. So yeah, so I think that's
Exactly.
beautiful. So let's talk about being remembered. So when people see Ancestry Cigars 10 years from now, what's that
Mhm.
going to look like? Or what do you envision it to look like?
Mhm. Well, the way I envision it is I will do slowly pull away. I still be involved in the day-to-day operations, but in 10 years, my goal is to start incorporating my son more in it so he can work on the legacy that I have built. With that being said, he has 2 more years at college
Mhm.
and he's graduating and he's a finance major. So
Oh,
this
wow.
would be something like I've always told him, you don't have to be the CEO. You can appoint a CEO, but you must keep your shares on the board. That's
Yeah.
in order for you to etch that in. Basically, is something for him, even though he doesn't smoke now, which hopefully for his 21st birthday, will give him his first cigar because he
Hmm.
wants to have his birthday party in Vegas. So
Oh
some
wow.
connections out there.
Yeah.
One of the things that I plan on doing is actually having a small party for him. So I want him to be able to keep it going,
Hmm.
to keep to pat for his kids to go on and take it over, for him to train his kids and so on and so forth.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because when you build something, no matter if it's in the tobacco industry, whatever industry it's in, you want your kids to keep the legacy. And that's one of the issues that a lot of businesses across the board are having
Yeah.
is the kids don't want to be
Hmm.
bothered, or else the kids get to fighting about the money and everything like that in the business ends up going. Because I was literally in the beauty supply store the other day, and the man was telling me about how, like, one of my favorite hair brands that I use for my natural hair, Dr.
Hmm.
Miracles, how they went out of business because the sons literally were fighting over the money, and they weren't focusing in on keeping their father's legacy and brand alive, and they lost it. And we have to make sure we have the blueprint in place so it can't happen like that. you
Yeah.
know and that's almost like, in terms of prime example, like how Queen Elizabeth has, that monarch has been set up. That it's been set up where it goes from generation to generation and passes down. And we need to have that same, model when it comes to businesses across the board, when it comes to our kids. If you don't want to take on the reign, you don't want to do, okay, let's go hop over you and pass to the next person if you have, other children, because the people who started these businesses worked too hard and they sacrificed so much to make sure that the name continues, over generations. And we need to put things in place.
You know what? It's so funny that you should say that. I was just reading, Quincy Jones passed away, not too long ago.
Hmm.
And now, of course he has this huge trust, or just he has so much wealth that has to be managed and has to be maintained.
Hmm.
And from what I read, I'm not sure, I didn't do the research, so I'm not, so allegedly so allegedly the people, the kids that he two kids have already passed on it. So now the third child, which I want to say his name is Quincy Jones the
That's
third
the
or something.
third.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
think, yeah, Quincy Jones the third is going to be in charge of it. But it speaks to what you are saying. A lot of kids, they don't want that responsibility, they don't want to do that. And so you have to find, let's keep going, child to child to child, or however you
Hmm.
have to do in order to keep that legacy going, because it's so important. And when you think about names like Levi,
Hmm.
the Levi brand, when you think about names that have been here for centuries, for years and years and years, that's how you keep it going. And even sometimes, of course, it becomes more corporate. It moves from a
Yep.
family brand to a corporation. But like you said, as long as he keeps those shares, you good to go.
Because a lot of people don't know I own all 100 of my shares. Yes, I have
Mhm.
board members, but I own them all.
Yeah,
Did that for a reason. So
absolutely.
even though that my board advises me, I did that until you put some time served in on the board. Because I'm not gonna just give a piece of my company to anyone, and you haven't really been in the trenches
Or they
with
just
me.
chasing the title.
Exactly, exactly. I wasn't gonna do that.
Right.
As far as Quincy Jones, what people don't understand about that story is he left each one of his kids $70 million. Let's start with
Mhm.
that.
Ooh,
So now I don't
legacy.
understand. Yeah, I don't understand because he had a portion of Michael Jackson's catalog and the kids sold it. And I don't think they realize the value of stuff when you buy in catalogs, when you invest in the company's money and other things. They don't really understand the value.
Because they didn't earn it.
And exactly. And not
Yeah.
only that, you have to sit down and have those conversations like, hey, you want to hold on to this because this is the
Absolutely.
interest that you're going to get off of it. So when I heard that they sold the catalog, I said, that's stupid. But
Yeah.
hey, that's what they wanted to do. That's what they wanted to do. But also, too, I understand, with the children, why it ended up going to the third, because maybe the children are involved in other business ventures and everything like that,
Yeah.
and they just don't have the time to manage that. And
Yeah.
maybe this, their sibling, that one, he has the time and he can be more hands on than they could be. I get that. And then, some children just don't want to be bothered with that. You have to
Yeah.
understand, we have to understand, you have, even though I only have one child, I basically know like what he's going to deal with and what he's not going to deal with. I know that he's not going to be as hands on like I have been with the business, or he maybe could once he sees the value in it and the legacy that I have built. He might say, okay, well, I'm going to balance this and run a company full time and still have a full time job coming in as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You have to look at all of those aspects.
Yeah, that's excellent. And it speaks to the story. So you're up on it. You're up on it. You already know about Quincy Jones and what the talk is around that family.
Mhm.
So thank you.
Mhm.
That absolutely helps because it shows all of the things that you have to look at. And
Absolutely.
so, like I said, just go from person to person to person until you find that one who says, I'll do it.
Mhm.
I'll do
Yeah.
it. Because that's like corporations. I mean, they've been here forever. Levi is just one of them. Coca-Cola. I mean, the list can go on and on and on. Someone took an interest. Someone knew that this could be larger than life.
Mhm.
Surpass like generations after generations, and they just keep grabbing every next generation.
Because
Getting
I
it.
even tell people about like with my
Uh-huh.
last name is Blandon,
Yeah.
and it's a Blandon bourbon. They'd be like, "Are you guys?" I'm like, "Yeah." So basically, my husband's people they literally, some of them were slaves,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how they got the Blandon last name. And they were like, "Well, do you guys have any interaction?" No, because the agreement hundreds of years ago was that we give you this land, you sign all rights off of the bourbon, and you move forward. And that's what they did. So, I get that a lot. Like, are you related? Have you talked to them? I was like, no, I haven't talked to them. And they were like, people will say, well, what happens if one day they reach out to you? What do you go do? I said, I'll talk to them. I'm like, but they also have to understand I'm married into the Blanton
Right.
family, and my husband is actually the Blanton. And people will go, that'll be really cool if one day they reach out to you, especially knowing that you have a cigar brand and you guys do a collab or whatever. I said, that would be cool. I said, but if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. They know I exist.
Blanton bourbon. Now I got to go look for that.
Yeah. Oh, Blanche, it's excellent bourbon.
And guess what?
Um,
I was gonna say, we have a Bourbon Street vanilla tea,
yeah, that's my favorite.
and you mix the two. I think we might be on to something right there. But yeah, it's so funny because a lot of people don't know that name means nature.
Mhm.
And there's something in your name. I don't care if you don't even believe in this stuff, but if you find out what your name means, your personality, parts of your personality is going to be inside of that name. So I think, what we name our children is so important.
Mhm.
Our names are so important. It needs to be researched. And I love how much depth you have on just stuff about names, stuff about nature, stuff about life. It's ancestral. That's what you are all about, ancestral. But can you believe we're coming up to the end? So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pull myself out the camera, and I want you to say whatever you want to the people. Leave them a message of positivity. Tell them about Ancestry Cigars, whatever you want to do. And you can do this for however long you want. Until once you fade out, I'll come back in. All right. I want to say thank you for being on the show, and we'll say goodbye after you've done that, and I come back on. All right. Let me pull myself out.
First of all, thank you so much for me to be on this morning's platform. It was wonderful as usual. Every time we come into contact with each other, it's always a beautiful exchange. And Melissa, you are really doing it. As far as the company Ancestry, we are continuing to build, create the legacy. Always available via IG, via any of my social media platforms. If I don't answer, they'll make sure it gets to me. But 9 times out of 10, I answer before tech savvy personal assistant does. I want to tell you guys that if I can do it, anyone can do it. Never always keep the faith, keep God first, and then everything will fall in line as long as He's in agreement with it. Never give up on your hopes and dreams. Sometimes it takes us longer. Everybody does not achieving their dreams in their 20s. Some people in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. So always, whatever you want to do, just always stay the course and keep working it. And eventually everything will come in line and you'll end up like me, even though all of my stuff isn't in line. We're still working on some things slowly, but surely it will be there. Basically just keep the faith, a phone call, again, text message, email away. And that's me.
All right. I just want to say again, thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
I love this conversation. I love what you're doing. I love where you're going with it. Coffee always mixed with a good cigar. Mixes well with, and I see you've got one now. What brand do you have today?
This one is actually one of mine. It's one of my the new ones that I'm smoking this morning.
Okay.
That's coming out.
All right.
Well, tentatively right now it's for Mother's Day. But my blender is gonna be at the factory this week, and I don't know what the numbers are looking like, and if it's actually ready, he'll smoke it because they actually did start working on it. And he's going down there this week because he actually lives here in the States
Okay.
to test and see if it's ready to go ahead and aim for next month. Also to prepare the other batch that's in resting right now. To come to the States because we got orders. We really do.
Wonderful. None like orders. None like
Yes.
orders.
Orders.
All right. Say. I hope that your business continues to be blessed. I hope that you guys continue to prosper and grow. And I'm only a phone call away. I know we're talking about doing some things in the future, but wait a minute. It was one thing I wanted to talk about. Y'all, the show just restarted. We just pressed rewind on this week. I want to talk about your new business. Can you just talk about that for a little bit and then we'll say goodbye?
Yes. So I actually have started a sister to sister cigar events business with my business partner, which she is the owner of Bohemian Cigars, Tailhurst. So basically, we have our first Father's Day event, June 20th, Little Havana Cigar Lounge, which is basically Shades of Chocolate Steak and Cigar event. And that's to honor the fathers, or even if you are a godfather, whatever way you are to somebody in life, you can come out and you get a full dinner. You get 5 cigars, you get whiskey tastings. Right now, we're working on trying to get some more liquor vendors in. And all of that VIP package is $125 until June 1st. You can either go on our website, or if you're in the state of Illinois, you can go and purchase your tickets from Little Havana Cigar Lounge, and they will help you. But after June 1st, we will have a package if you don't want the dinner for $75, and you'll get the full experience except the dinner.
Okay, you guys, that was Enid Blandon, Ancestry Cigars Incorporated. You can find her on IG. You can find her on Facebook at Enid Full Body Blandon. You guys, let's support. Let's pour into what she's doing, and let's honor her. And thank you
You're
again. And we're
welcome. You're
gonna
welcome.
sign off. We're gonna sign off right now by saying, keep the conversation going and keep sipping, Shero. I will see you guys next week from the ATL. All right, have a good one, you guys. Be blessed.
Hey there, thank you so much for hanging out with us on this week's Shero Coffee Chat. Don't forget, smash that subscribe button so you never miss what's coming next. And hey, make sure your weekday begins with Shero Coffee, where we keep the world caffeinated and women veterans celebrated. You can visit us at sherocoffee.com. We'll see you next week right here on Shero Coffee Chat, and have a blessed week.